This is Abe Freetanzer from Awards Watch, and I'm thrilled to be speaking with Shea Whigham about his absolutely phenomenal performance in Gaslit. How are you today, Shea?
I'm good, thanks. Thanks for having me, man.
Of course. Now, I like a lot of the actors in the show, but I do think that you give the singularly best performance on the series.
Uh, I don't know about that. I think there's some incredible performances in this thing, starting with Miss Roberts. But thank you very much.
What did you know about Gordon Liddy before this project?
I knew I knew I knew about him, but I didn't. I knew more. I knew more about almost about the actor performer Liddy. Post uh, post White House plumbers and post Watergate. So I had to kind of reverse engineer. This. I wasn't interested in the Letterman or the Miami Vice or you know what was the show where they eat a bunch of stuff. Fear Factor, things like that. So I started, I looked at that stuff, but I really honed in on 72, 70, 73, 74.
What surprised you most about him?
Oh, you know, um, I, I mean, there's so much I did I felt like I owed it. Any character that I play, I feel like I owe it to them when I start this process. I was really struck with his his love and commitment to his family. He talks about them a ton in Will and how much they kind of meant to him. Um, I guess really, answering one of the major questions we had to answer was complicity and what is your line? What's your line that and I'm to really see the ends to which he was willing to go to. That was pretty deep for me.
Yeah, I would describe him as having fervor, probably is the best word I think for it. That just like comes in there and he's like, this is what we're going to do. And there's the idea of a line. I don't know if it really, I'm sure that he did have a line, but it doesn't seem like it really exists just because he is so mission driven and ready to adapt to his next marching orders, even if someone else is telling him something different.
Yeah. I mean, by the time, Gordon gets to this point, he's wanted to this immense insecurity, insecurity that has been since he was 4 years old, coupled with not really being heard by his father and the test of will all along the way. All this kind of came together for him at this point, wanting to be heard by Nixon, wanting to test his will, willing to do anything, because of his deep insecurity. So it all kind of came together for him. What's interesting is we talked a lot about he's willing to do anything, but if you went to someone and you wanted to know the truth about what happened in a meeting or what truly happened, you would go to Liddy because he would actually say, whereas Hunt or Ehrlichman might say, well, we had a meeting and this is what really happened. If you wanted to really know the truth, you would go to you'd go to Liddy to find out. Nope, this is exactly what happened. He's, it's black and white with him. So.
And you do have so many great scene partners, as we started to talk about before. And I'm thinking mostly of your scenes with Chris Bauer and how his character reminds me a lot of your character from Homecoming. That it's very, subservient and again wants to get things done, but also doesn't have the same kind of sort of rage and ability to just sort of dive in and take charge.
Yeah, well, Chris is a great actor. I had never done anything with him. It was really nice working with him on this. Yeah, I think I think McCord, who he plays, just gets in over his head pretty quickly and realizes in dealing with Liddy, uh-oh, this is what it means to really, get down with this mission. And I think he, you know, as they all did, because Liddy's the only one that didn't name names. I was willing to go 20, 23 years, whatever, whatever it was. I did 4, but I was willing, the only one willing. Everyone else, they said they were willing to until it got down to it, So whether it's Dean or Liddy or Dean or McCord. But yeah, I think there are. Yeah, there are some similarities in those two characters.
And it's also funny because when I think about Chris, I think about True Blood, where he plays just a totally someone who's actually a lot closer to Liddy in some ways, especially early on in the show. And it's funny to see this in a very different but also effective role.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, we went 12 deep on this show. That's why you do this. You want to get it out there because of how hard everyone worked. And this bench went so deep. It was So yeah.
Is there anyone from the cast that you would have really liked to work with, but just wasn't part of Liddy's storyline?
Well, I mean, I always loved working with Julia, and I didn't have anything with Martha in this. So yeah, it would be Julia Roberts. How good she's been to me with Homecoming and now this, giving me 2 of the best parts that I could ever hope for.
Well, I do think about Homecoming, but I also think about Boardwalk Empire as like sort of the, one of your early definitive roles for me. I specifically think of that one time where Eli finally steps into a different position when Nucky is ready to trust him and really depend on him. What was that experience like just being on that show?
That show was magical. I mean, to get to play Eli. I remember when I got that gig, everybody in Hollywood was reading for that part, and HBO really wanted Marty to push for all the big names, and Marty really trusted me with that. Marty and Tim Van Patten and Terry Winter, and that thing again. We had an amazing bench on that of actors. And so I remember when I got a chance. First of all, on the 7th episode, I go to kill Nucky, my own brother, and I thought, this is it. It's been a nice ride. It's a beautiful. But they met me before the table read. Van Patten met me and said, "You're not going to die. All right, just know somehow. We don't know how, but you're not going to die." And so when I was putting Eli's is a lot like Liddy in that there's a lot of fear at the onset of playing this, and then you're aware of that, and then the work at some point takes over. There's like a fear and excitement jostling at the same time. I remember when I got Liddy, and the same with Eli. They're jostling in there, and I always thought that Eli had Fredo in him. You know what I mean? There was a Fredo quality in him. And when I got to take over, we kind of knew that he wasn't quite built. He wasn't quite built to be that leader. You know what I mean? He wanted to so bad. It's like I used to have in my pages there, like, I'm smart, Mike. I'm smart. You know what I mean? And Eli was like, I'm smart, Nucky. I can fucking do this, Nucky. You know what I mean? And that was kind of, yeah.
You were also part of another series that I feel like was underappreciated, but now we've just heard is coming back for a sort of sequel series, and that's Waco. Is that something that I don't remember the specific history if that's something that your character would be involved in, but have you heard anything about that?
Yeah. I just did a quick, very, it's mainly following Michael's character, Michael Shannon, but I did a couple of episodes for them. They wanted to, they're taking some liberties in that piece. But again, another one, now that you're naming them, I've been incredibly lucky to be a part of some great stuff.
I mean, I was shocked because I knew there's so much stuff you've done. And I was looking back at your, credits on IMDb. I was like, oh, he was in there. Like, I think about you from so many different things, but Take Shelter, again, working, with Michael. But I also saw there was an LA Confidential pilot that never got sold. Can you tell me about that?
Oh man, they asked me to come do that, and I read the script, and CBS was like, "We're going to do something. We want to do like Boardwalk. We want to do that." And so I signed on to that character. I love that character. We shot the pilot. The pilot turned out it's one of those that's above my pay grade. I don't know how that works, whether you pick a pilot up or not, but the pilot was great. It was great. I was really looking forward to telling that story in that time period in Los Angeles. You know, I mean, we're doing it right now in Perry Mason. You know, it's 33, and you know, I love telling Boardwalk. We started in 39, so I love telling those kind of, see if you can really feather yourself into that world and have people believe it and buy it, you know?
Yeah, I feel like Perry Mason also was like very early pandemic. It feels like so long ago, and so it's great that it's coming back soon for more. What can you preview about what's next on that show?
Yeah, we shot another great season. Finished up last night. I love working with Matthew Reese is, I love working with him. So our two characters have a nice, you know, we have a nice synergy. So it's going to be another great season there for Perry and Strickland. I have a real affinity for Strickland.
Well, it seems like most of the people we're talking about are characters from the past. Homecoming, sort of, you never really know when that's taking place. That always feels like a sort of timeless nature to it. Do you like period pieces as compared with contemporary?
I love it. I love it. Not you know, I mean, I'm doing Mission Impossible 7 and 8 right now, and I love that world. I'll take that world any day. But I like the challenge, man. You know, Abe, I like the challenge of being, can I get there? Can I make people really buy into these characters? And I like complicated, you know, the more distance from me is what I seem to gravitate towards, you know. I But yeah, I do. I love it, man.
Well, besides those films and Perry Mason season 2, what else is coming up for you?
Uh well, like I said, I'm letting Perry kind of wash over me for a little bit, and then I head to we finished Mission Impossible 7, and I finished that like a week ago, you know, and we're gonna do number 8 with Tom Cruise, and they're really riding high right now in Top Gun. So it's a nice, him and Macquarie are, they're they're pretty incredible guys. So I'll be doing that, and then, you know, see where it takes me.
Is there anything that you really want to try that you haven't done yet in your career?
Do I want to try anything? That's interesting. I haven't thought about that, man. You know, I wanted to direct, possibly direct a boardwalk at one point, and I was shadowing Tim Van Patten to do that. And but I don't know. I love I love staying in there with these characters. These, like I said, these complicated characters so much. I'm not sure. I don't know that I could do both. I would either have to direct an episode or just act in it. You know. So yeah, maybe try that.
All right. Well, it's so great to be able to speak with you and to think about all these roles that you have and what's coming next. So thank you for taking some time to speak with me today. Of
Thanks for having me, man.
course.